I'd like to call this meeting of the Newington special meeting of the Newington Board of Education to order for Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. The time is 7:04 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Deb, would you please call the roll?
Mary Beecher.
Here.
Brittany Carr.
Here.
Son Howland.
Here.
Anthony Neely.
Here.
Timothy Newton.
Here.
Amy Karate.
Here.
Sam Sharma.
Here.
Jessica Weaver.
She's on a plane.
Anastasia Yap.
Here.
Hold everybody but Miss Weaver.
Thank you. Okay, the first order of business is a presentation, which is a resolution honoring our Newington information and educational technology professionals. Resolution honoring Newington information technology staff and educational technology staff, September 10th, 2025. Whereas Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 has been proclaimed as Information and Educational Technology Appreciation Day. And whereas the Newington Public School System is committed to honoring its information and educational technology professionals and recognizing their contributions to the educational system. And whereas the information and educational technology professionals are well qualified and dedicated to their craft by refreshing their skills to keep pace with the rapid evolution of technology. And whereas the information and educational technology professionals help students to use technology safely and prepare them for the demands of the changing global society and workplaces. And whereas the information and educational technology professionals' commitment to providing excellence in contemporary technology services and solutions that ensure and enhance the learning process is exemplary. And whereas it is the desire of the Board of Education that the informational and educational technology professionals should be made aware of their appreciation. We do hereby proclaim Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 as Newington Information and Educational Technology Appreciation Day. Therefore, be it resolved that we urge all the citizens of our community to join with us in actively expressing gratitude to our information and educational technology professionals who represent an investment in excellence in our community. Be it further resolved that the Secretary of the Newington Board of Education is directed to spread this resolution upon the minutes of the meeting and to provide a suitable copy to the Directors of Information and Educational Technology. Fine, Board of Ed. Would you like to say a few words?
Absolutely. On behalf, my name is Brett Dunaway for the Newington Information Technology team. On behalf of the IT team over here at Newington, we want to say thank you for acknowledging the hard work that we put in and day out, the incredible team and the effort that goes into this. So none of this is possible without the teachers, the administration staff, and everyone who supports us as well. We love what we do, and we will continue to do what we do.
Spoke for us all.
Amy, can I say anything? It's Jay.
I'll open up to board comments. Ms. Beatrice.
Thank you so much for all of your hard work and everything that you do. I think you guys are very, very well aware that there's nothing more stressful than opening up your computer and seeing something spinning or a dark screen, and that the terror that strikes through us if we can't do what we need to do when we need to do it. And so I really appreciate all the effort that you put in, the long hours, the continuing education, keeping on top of everything. Technology moves very, very, very quickly, and you guys are on top of it for all of our staff, all of our students, and those even technical things that happen in our buildings. So very, very much appreciated. Thank you for everything you do. Well done.
Mr. Sharma?
Hi, I just want to quickly reach out to you guys and thank you for everything, you guys do because, you guys keep us running, right? Keep us up, everything's working in our district. So thank you so much for everything you guys do.
Mr. Halloran?
Just echoing what everybody else said, information technology, you guys, that is such a broad term. It is usually, it's broke, please fix it. And that's about as much as you have to go on most of the time. It's not just about making sure that things are connected, but there's security, right? It's the world we live in. It's not just, I'm talking about IT security, but it's linked in with fire, EMS. There's a lot of things that encompass information technology. And I don't think everybody appreciates or knows what that does. So thank you very much. My brother works in the same department in Rocky Hill. So I was expecting just about the right amount of speaking that happens at that point. You're doers, not really sayers, but what you do means a lot. So thank you very much.
Ms. Carr?
And just, again, echoing what everyone said, you guys are the backbone of our schools, and you don't necessarily get the recognition that people think of. I know personally, I went to my IT department twice today, and I can only imagine, in the schools, the teachers, administration, the students, and technology is becoming more advanced and more in part of our everyday. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And Mr. Salerno was on, but I think he has dropped. But anyways, just what everybody said. A lot of times you don't see, as Mr. Holland was kind of alluding to, you don't see all of the things that happen until they go wrong. So the fact that we don't really hear a lot about things that go wrong is really a testament to the hard work behind the scenes that our technology and technology folks go through. And it is a very important department to have. So we are very appreciative of you and thank you for all your hard work. Okay. Anyone else? Thank you. Okay. I will now open up to public participation on any matter related to board responsibilities. If you are in the room, you come to the head of the table. If you're online, you can raise your hand. I think we talked last time, we are looking to revise our policy. So we have a 4-minute timer today for public participation. Ms. Havens?
I'm sorry, did you call my name?
I did. Yes.
Okay. Dana Havens, 113 Stoddard Avenue. All right, I'm calling today in response to a letter that was sent out by the chairman regarding the accelerated math program. I was unable to access the letter directly as the link denied me entry, and it denied the parents who sent it to me originally entry when they try to get into it today. So I'm going off memory. Please let me know if this is wrong or right. I understand that the letter said that accelerated math will only, in 7th grade, will be only offered for this year. So if you can confirm if that is correct. I also was told and can remember that while the chairman's wording suggests this was a joint decision of the board, in reality, not all the board members were aware of this, nor did they receive a copy of the letter that was sent to the parents. And if that is indeed the case, it is to me just as concerning as the chairman's decision at the last meeting to shut down speakers who were simply quoting statements made by members of administration. So please note that I did not use names today. And thank you for your time.
You. Seeing no other public participation, move on. Oh, you can come to the head of the table.
Oh, I can see it. Okay, Martha Karsten, 32 Stagecoach Lane. It's very frustrating when you ask a question or questions and they are dodged. This administration is extremely adept at doing this, and it goes back to the continued lack of transparency and honesty in decision-making. When a parent asks about class sizes or how class sizes are determined or how certain cuts are made or the rationale behind them, they really should be quick and easy answers because they really should be backed in data and or part of the contract. What I have figured out is that here in Newington, these things that this administration have chosen to attempt to hide and be dishonest about by omission. I wrote a letter to the superintendent as well as every member of the Board of Education in August with 0 responses to my questions or any attempt made to have a productive discussion. Imagine how frustrating that would be. So when questions go unanswered and are dodged, and the optics are such that my instincts are correct, cuts were intentionally made to keep certain kids out of accelerated math this year. Whether or not that's a fact, that's what every person I've spoken to about this has felt as well. My son, who has an IXL score within the high school level, just missed the cut on SBA and is so bored and unchallenged in the general 7th grade math class you placed him in. He had a grade in the range you set and missed the SBA cut by 5 points, or according to the 6th grade math teachers in my building, that's 1 question. Interestingly, I spoke to a math consultant at the state level, and that person was shocked that a grade and an SBA score were what you use to determine who went where. I am a diagnostician who is trusted to diagnose dyslexia and learning disabilities, as well as other exceptionalities special education teachers test for. I would never make a determination based on a grade and a high stakes test. You should not have either. Imagine hiring me for an IEE and I looked at your child's SBA score and a grade and said, no, they do not have dyslexia. Do you hear how that sounds? The reality is I know we are in our 3rd week of school, but my son is not getting the upward differentiation. And he said, just in the car yesterday afternoon, I guess my job is to help teach the other kids again this year. What is the plan for providing enrichment to these kids that you chose not to accelerate? Those of us that had children that just missed the cut deserve a written plan of how and what you are going to do to provide them upward differentiation and enrichment opportunities. Every day we have to coexist with people we do not like. However, the route taken here, instead of looking at students holistically, is to discriminate against the ones that have parents who do not just blindly follow, who ask questions and push for excellence in their children's education. Trying to force everyone into one box and make them the same is not providing excellent education. My job for the last 25 plus years has been to instruct the most struggling learners and ensure that equity and opportunities exist for them. I am a champion for inclusion and for pushing students to be their personal best. I would not have lasted in special education for this many years if that was not the case. I would not be pursuing my fellow level of Orton Gillingham training if that was not the case. I see the phrase every student every day, no matter what, in buildings around town. It is heartbreaking to think that this really is not the case. If it was the case, children would be looked at as a whole and not just a standardized test score in 1 grade. I want to be very clear about something. I'm not just here because of both of my sons. I am not just here because I feel a certain way about some of you. As someone that has made a life's work about treating all students with dignity, the dignity that they deserve, it breaks my heart that this group of children that includes my son was not treated with dignity or respect, and their social emotional needs were not considered and they were trampled on instead.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Laura Kelleher, 31 Cheney Lane. I do not have a prepared speech tonight, but I just have a few notes to mention in response to some of what Martha said. Curriculum in Newington Public Schools needs to be looked at very closely. I understand up till this point, the Board of Education has not voted on curriculum changes, but having two sons that have gone through the Newington Public Schools, as I've said in previous meetings, I have trusted the administration to make decisions that are in the best interest of our kids, and I don't believe that is being done. When my oldest son started kindergarten, he was using Foundations. It's a very strong reading and writing curriculum. It's used by many of our districts in our area, many districts that score higher than us on standardized testing, if that's what we're worried about now in Newington, apparently. In kindergarten, he could tell me what a digraph was, what a diphthong was. He was reteaching me reading and writing, and I'm a special education teacher and a school administrator. Shortly after that, Newington switched to Lucy Calkins' reading and writing curriculum, which, if you've done any research, you now know has been proven not to be a scientific-based reading curriculum. And there are many lawsuits against that curriculum. So my older son had a little bit of that, but that's what my younger son started school with. Then after Lucy Calkins, Newington Public Schools decided to switch to Benchmark. There are approximately 2 towns in the entire state of Connecticut that use Benchmark as their reading and writing curriculum. Teachers in Newington report to me that students are so upset and the focus is so heavily on testing, repeated testing. There's not a strong focus on phonics. Why are we using a curriculum that 2 out of all the towns in Newington, approximately, let's say 5, just for the sake of give or take a little. Why are we using a curriculum that 5 towns are using in Newington? Why do I have teachers in Rocky Hill, West Hartford, Glastonbury saying, why would you ever be using Benchmark in Newington? And the reason I'm bringing this up tonight is because, again, I've trusted this administration to make these decisions, and I'm really questioning whether or not I should have done that, because now I have a 5th grader that is not strong in reading and writing, has not received intervention, and has scored a 2, nearly a 1 on his SBAC for 2 years in a row. And I've been in contact with his principals. I've been in contact with Dr. Bromett. I've been in contact with Ms. Freeman. I've been in contact with basically everyone related to this issue, and nothing has changed. His SBAC score went up 50 points, which is a typical increase over the course of a year from last year to this year. And I think his teacher worked really hard. I don't think it's his teacher's fault. So what are we doing to improve reading and writing? Because that directly links to math in any subject, and every subject, I should say. The other thing I want to mention, and I could go into the accelerated math thing, but you guys have heard from me about that. So the math curriculum that we're using in the elementary school, Howard County Resources. How many of you have heard of Howard County Resources? Because I have teachers reaching out to me saying they're spending their summer buying things with their fellow teachers on Teachers Pay Teachers, so they have resources just to provide to their students to start the first day of school. I looked it up before I came here. It's from Elliott City, Maryland. And each level has about 3 pages of a scope and sequence with no attached materials to it. And that's our most evidence-based math curriculum that our taxpayers are paying for in Newington. So if the Board of Ed isn't voting on these decisions, then we need different people in the seats that are making these decisions, because I honestly can't believe this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other participation? Okay, thank you. We will look into the questions raised, and Dr. Brumett or a member of her team will get back to you on them. Okay, we have our standing committee reports. We have our student representatives from the high school. One of them here tonight, Abby. Welcome back. Thanks for being here.
Hi, so my name's Abby Pratt, and I'm this year's senior Board of Ed Rep. Our junior Board of Ed Rep this year is Daniel Bieshkard, but he was unable to be here today because he's drum major for our marching band, and they have their first big performance tomorrow, so he wasn't able to come. And then I have some of our SUCO officers behind me. So Adrian Bielski, who's our president, Michaela Woods, who is our vice president, Aaron Piakowitz, who's our secretary, and then some other people who couldn't be here, Jason White, who's our social chair, and then Jalen Henderson, who is our treasurer. So the presentation we have this year is very similar to the format we had last year with a lot of the similar details. So whenever you guys are ready. So we have an inside NHS section just so you guys can see what's going on inside the high school. So with senior year coming up, we have a lot of supports for our seniors at the high school. So every year, the main school counseling office hosts various college rep visits, and it's a great way for students to make a connection with the college that they're thinking about going to, and it provides a good way to ask informal questions that you may not feel comfortable asking in a typical setting where you may go on a tour. We also have senior class meetings. So during advisory this week, counselors are meeting with senior students by house to provide information on the post-secondary process and how to navigate that and the steps that we should be taking. There's also the 12th grade parent night program, and that's going to be held September 16th at 5:30 in the auditorium at the high school. And it's going to provide information about different types of colleges, how to select a college, and what goes into the typical application. And then we also are having, I believe it's that same night, a college fundraising workshop from Barnum Financial Group, and that's going to be virtually at 7 p.m. So they're going to talk about need-based financial aid, FAFSA versus the CSS profile, tuition discounting, and minimizing student loans, just so that parents can get a better idea of how to help their students. And then we also have senior sunrise. So on the first day of school, all of our seniors go to the football field and we all at 6 a.m. and we all watch the sunrise together. So that was a really fun way. We all made posters and took pictures together. So that was really fun. And then we also, these past couple of weeks, had Pliables and Duncan visit the high school. So they gave out samples, and Miss Tigno actually helped to serve the Pliables. So it was really cool. Everyone really enjoyed it. And then we also have AP exam registration. So that has started in AP classes, and it's going to be open till the end of the month, so the 30th of September. And then it's for students who are eligible to take the AP test and who are interested in getting college credit. And then ECE enrollment is going to begin the 16th, and that's going to be open for a month, so until October 16th. And a lot of our students take advantage of those opportunities just because it's presented in class as a way to save money going into college. So it's a really good opportunity that a lot of our students take advantage of. We also have our freshman, sophomore, and junior class assemblies. So it's in similar format to the senior class assemblies, but they'll be discussing more expectations for the school year, what to expect for the beginning of the year, introducing staff members, stuff like that. And we also have our class of 2029 elections. So our class officers have started filling out their applications if they want to run for class office. And we're trying to get as much involvement as possible because sometimes it can be difficult with the new freshmen because they're intimidated. So we're just trying to make it as welcoming and as open as possible. And then Miss Tigno, starting yesterday, actually, she's picking 3 students. So she picks random by ID number, and she's doing Tuesday talk and treats with Tigno. And she's just doing it to create a more welcome aspect where students feel more comfortable bringing up issues, because we have student leadership meetings monthly where she gets the chance to talk to all the class officers and student council officers. But that's only a limited number of us, and there are a lot of other students who maybe don't feel like their voices are being heard. So this was just a way for Ms. Tigno to remedy that and hopefully make a more welcoming environment. And then we also had a lot of new staff members these first few weeks, so they've all been getting acclimated. And one of them is pictured here, Jason Stahman, and he's the new chamber choir teacher and the music teacher. So he's been really great, and all the staff members have been super welcoming. So. And then we have our clubs. So Link Crew, which I am president of and Adrian is vice president of this year. We did our training over the summer for our new members because it's a seniors only club. And our goal is to help freshmen and new students get acclimated to the school environment and feel comfortable and safe in schools. And we did our training over the summer just so that they understood what Link Crew was and what the responsibilities were that they were going to have. We also did tours a couple days later because we have new student orientation during the summer, but that's overwhelming for a lot of students. So our tours are more personalized and they're a little more private. So our Link Crew members go on tours with either families or specific students who feel they need a little extra help, or they want help opening lockers, asking questions, that kind of thing that they might not feel comfortable asking a staff member. So those were really successful. We had about 30 to 40 families come. So that was awesome. And then I, along with a current sophomore, were interviewed by NBC Connecticut about the club. They interviewed Isabella Longo last year, who founded the club, and then they just followed up with us this year to see how it was doing. So that was a really great opportunity. And then DECA has been really busy. So we have a lot of upcoming conferences and trips that we're going on this year. We're going to Georgia, New York City, and I believe the other one is Virginia. So they're going to be spending a lot of time in DC and doing activities there. We also have our red, white, and blue merch that we've been trying to promote because we have our red, white, and blue football game tomorrow. So we do merch for each of the football games at the school store. And we've been selling our red, white, and blue merch. We also have a pop-up shop that we're doing for a limited time this month so that students can get merch or personalized items that they might not typically be able to get at the school store like year-round. So that's really exciting. And then we also had our first meeting where we just discussed expectations. We went over senior SOL expectations for the class of 2026, and we just discussed what we'll be doing this year. And then student council, we had our summer planning. So we did a lot of work this summer to plan for the new school year because this year we've been putting a big focus, the class of 2026 and student council, on school spirit because we've noticed a decline in that over the past few years. Even the seniors from when I was a freshman were always really excited going to all the football games, dressing up for all the spirit days, but that's declined a lot and that's something that we want to see brought back. So we've been working hard to create a spirit squad to help lead the student section at games and to help get people more excited for spirit days and get them involved. FBLA also took a group of students to Anaheim, California for their summer leadership conference, and they were able to develop their business skills and visit a lot of tourist destinations. So that was I've heard great things about that. And then Key Club held their first officer meeting today to lay out plans for service projects in the community. And a student from NHS was selected to serve as lieutenant governor for the Connecticut division within New England. So that was a really big deal. And Danny was actually selected for that position. So that was a really big deal for him. And it was really exciting. So just to get that regional involvement is a really big deal for the club. And then Spanish Club is also planning on expanding their club because they've been a pretty small and new club the past few years, but they really want to have a bigger impact in the school and be able to do fundraisers and activities like that. So the officers have been doing a lot of hard work to plan that. And then that's okay. I'll just start talking about it now. So our next area is sports, and we have our first football game tomorrow. It's Red, White, and Blue and First Responders Day to honor our first responders here in Newington, and it's going to be at 6:30. And first responders who have ID or who are in uniform are allowed free entry. And it's a Thursday game because the CIAC is required to do one, like each school to have one Thursday game a year. So the football team chose this one as their first one. And then a lot of teams haven't gotten into games yet, but they've been doing a lot of scrimmages and they've had their media day. So that's been super exciting. All the teams got great pictures and some of them are right there. And then just for some special shout outs, we have SRO Bougie, and he was highlighted on Fox 61 News this week in a story called A Day in the Life of a School Resource Officer. And he's served as our school resource officer for 3 years. And I can confidently say he's a great presence in our school. A lot of students have like a really good personal connection with him. They feel comfortable talking to him. Even just seeing him in the hallway, he's so approachable and kind. In his room, he has a board of a bunch of students like signatures and just a lot of like bright colors and just things to make people feel welcome. So that's really awesome. And then NHS alumni Camden built a life-size US Bank Stadium with Legos. So Ms. Tigno really wanted me to highlight this. He's from the class of 2014, and he was highlighted on several news stations for this. And he started a digital design, and that took roughly 200 hours to do. And then he began purchasing and assembling 15,000 Legos, and it took him 2.5 years to complete. So it's a really like cool thing that Ms. Tigno wanted me to mention. And then just I wanted to follow up because on our last meeting last year, our senior board of ed rep, Michael LaFori Jr., brought up potential online payments at the school. And I noticed on your agenda that was one of the items here tonight. And I don't know if you guys have come to a conclusion on that, so correct me for any of that. But I just wanted to emphasize how important we feel it is at the high school. A lot of our officers, and I've talked to teachers about it, we feel that it's really important. And I feel that it would make school and payments a lot more accessible for families, because checks and cash, that becomes a problem in person at school a lot. And especially with like field trips in the school store and different issues, it can be a roadblock for us. But with online payments, cards, that's something people always have on them. So I think this would be a really great addition. And I just looked through the presentation that was in the agenda, and I think that program seems really awesome, and I hope it's something you guys consider. And that's all I have for you guys today. But if you have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. And yes, we will take your comments under consideration later on in the meeting. You're welcome to stick around, but I understand it's kind of late. So are there any comments or questions for Abby? Mr. Holleran?
Abby, it's nice to see you back. Student council, I love to see all returning faces. I was gonna ask, if you get to June, what is the word you would want to define Newington High School this year? But I think you've already answered it, and I think it's spirit. So it sounds like you have an agenda. I'd be interested to learn more about how that's happening, because I feel like that's a good way to get people motivated and excited and not look at school as something like a task, but actually a purpose. Thank you for the updates on DECA, big DECA supporter. Sounds like you got a bunch of fun things happening there. Is there anywhere I could buy red, white, and blue merch? Yes, I was excited to see the online payment method on the agenda as well. IT, hear that? Just another thing to add to the list. But I agree. I think having cash and checks floating around in schools is not only dated, but probably the least secure way we can handle funds. But thank you very much for the update. Nice having you back, and I appreciate hearing more. Thank you.
Mr. Newton?
Very good presentation. I have to say, after 20 years of driving down Willard Avenue yesterday, I saw a scoreboard that worked on the soccer field, which was much appreciated as a parent who had children who played soccer. Spirit is huge in your school. I'm still a Conard chieftain, no matter how you look at it, you know. But my boys are in Newington, but the spirit's important.
Mr. Sharma?
So thank you so much for the update, and I love the idea of senior sunrise. And I believe my son, I think he told me he had to visit his kindergarten when he graduated. So, amazing stuff. Thank you so much.
Can you just tell me what those mannequins are that were pictured? Because I've heard from some people that they're scary as they're like walking around the corner.
So That was I believe it was Miss Tigno's idea. So so we wanted to get mannequins to be able to dress up for our different spirit days, because just for spirit, we're starting our spirit squad. We've been promoting a lot more on the Eye of the Storm account. We've been posting a lot more, and each of the mannequins is dressed up as a different spirit day. So we have Ugly Sweater Day, Sports Day, I believe Tropical Day, and then Mismatch Day. Some of them are in Miss Batista's room, who's our student council advisor, and then some of them are around the school. So we've just been dressing them up for different events.
Super cute. Thank you. Yeah, creepy too. Any other comments or questions? Thank you for being here. Excited for the school year. Thank you to the rest of our Stuco officers. Like, what are you guys? Thank you. All right, I think that's the last of our committee. I know the curriculum committee is meeting on Mr. Hahn, the 16th, and how's the policy committee?
We're still working on it.
Okay, policy committee will be meeting soon. 16th at 6?
16th at 6 in this room.
Perfect, thank you. And just a quick plug, there will be fun topics there too.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, please.
I'm losing my words.
Please come. If you have a desire to. It's nice to see how the process works. It's much smaller setting than this. But it is open to the public. It is recorded. And we just want to be fully transparent because that was one of the issues that I had to take away from our special session over the summer. But it's been that way. So 16th at 6 in this room.
Thank you, Mr. Halloran. Okay, and Marlena, would you like to do the presentation for our ESS?
And while they make their way to the podium, we're joined by Kate Spring and Marilena Giulioso, our Special Services Director. And this is their annual report to the board on the progress of our ESS, Effective School Solutions Program, that is operating at the high school and both middle schools. In my opinion, it's a highly successful program, but I'll let their presentation speak for itself.
I remembered the button this time. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. And thank you for having me tonight. I really do appreciate it. I think last time I was here was last spring. So it's been a full calendar year. So tonight we're going to talk about our kind of a broad overview of our data from last year. What we look at is how we can make an impact educationally, as well as on the students' social, emotional, and mental health. So we look at GPA, discipline, and attendance as kind of those kind of key metrics for us. But tonight I'm going to show you, we're going to talk a little bit about the PD that we just did in the buildings. We're going to talk about our ESY program. So we're going to highlight a couple other areas of impact that we've made outside of just those data points. So on average, our students who are in our program receive at least 5 contacts or 5 services a week from our clinicians. Our baseline and expectation as a company is that our students are being seen or receiving at least 3 services a week. So we are exceeding that benchmark here on a consistent basis. In all 3 domains that I shared, GPA, attendance, and discipline, we've seen improvement from students' baseline across each of these domains. I just did mention we conducted PD was it last week and a half ago on the 26th? I've gotten some great feedback on Ariel, yeah. Our presenter presented 2 different topics for professional development for your faculty here in district. That's perfect, thank you. Just a quick overview of our programming. So right now in the 3 buildings, we're providing tier 3 mental health services for your students. These students have kind of that persistent difficulty throughout the day. We would say some students have high acuity. They are in need of more touch bases. They need an alternate setting to reset. Students in this category typically carry like major depressive disorder or DMDD diagnosis. So more of those more impactful diagnoses. We do provide other services in various districts at a tier 2 level, which is not something that we are doing here right now. But I could also just kind of speak to that quickly. When students are ready to discharge from us, we do look at how we can step back services. And like on my end, a tier 2 level would be, that less intensive. We'd like to make sure when we're seeing growth and development, we're pulling in various resources to kind of, start that transition out. So we're always looking at how we can step them down because ideally, they're with us, they grow, they learn, and they're successful. And then it's time to be able to implement those skills on their own within the community and in the building. And then I also included just the base of the pyramid here with providing professional development. That's something that the district has access to, and Marilena jumped on this year. So that was it's great. Yeah, I'm just very excited to see that. So let me take a step back. So census wise for our programs, we can carry per clinician up to 10 students is really kind of that sweet spot for us. And at least five services a week, like we just talked about. That could be group therapy, that could be individual therapy, that could be crisis management. That could be them coming in for structured lunch and having a chat with our clinician. So it's a lot of, access. And this figure for, we've determined that based off of the acuity and the needs of the students and level of services that were being implemented, we decided as a team, this was a sit-down roundtable discussion, that we've presented 13 students from being outplaced last year based off of our caseload. So that would be up to, we would carry up to 50 students across all of my 3 programs. So.
And I just want to add to this, to the slide and to your comments. We do look at the students comprehensively. Again, we're looking at the middle school, 2 middle schools and the high school. So that 13 numbers is based on those 3 locations. And when we look at the level of services, I think it's really important to remember that ESS services are above and beyond what the students are receiving in our schools. So they may be on an IEP, they may be on a 504, they're already receiving counseling, they're already receiving social work, they're already receiving school psychologist services. It's in addition to, so we are throwing all of our resources out at our students to make sure that we are meeting their needs so that we can educate them here in Newington Public Schools.
Thank you. This past summer, I wanted to highlight that we had 13 students come work with us. We had a large graduating class at both of the middle schools. So we were able to get our returners to come and work with us over the summer. And the high school holds their ESY in August to help with the students who may need a little more support getting back into the building, exploring the building, maybe one-on-one, linking up with teachers if the teachers are in the building, starting sessions, getting our brief clinicals done. So a lot of work happens in August as well here for our students at the high school. Just quickly, we're going to talk a little bit more about what success looks like when it comes to the academic data that we track. We have a little highlight of kind of the clinical picture looks like here based off of diagnoses of our students and their self-report and where they're landing with symptoms of anxiety and depression. We'll go over the data for the academic piece. And my favorite part is talking and looking at some of the quotes we get from parents and the survey results we get from our families. Just for me personally, that's probably of most value. And I think kind of speaks to the impact that we do have. Who is this small? So we're looking at a snapshot of services. Oh, Marilyn, thank you. Okay. So our broadest net here, collateral contact, what falls into that category are our provider phone calls that we make. We're in constant contact with therapists, prescribers, in-home therapists. It could be a primary care doctor. Phone calls home also fall into this category. Can be considered as a family therapy session for us to document it as such. The session needs to last for 25 minutes. So you could have a therapeutic skill-based conversation with the family, and if it's below our threshold, you'll find that service goes into our collateral contact bucket. For here, so the therapeutic check-in is a kid is swinging through. They need a little bit of a break. They're in the space with our staff, they're resetting, and then they're able to go back to their class. That's what we consider a therapeutic check-in. Individual session is that scheduled session, at least 25 minutes or more. The academic support, a lot of that happens at the high school level with our learning strategies course. A lot of that does happen in the clinical space as well, with students needing some extra support. And for the collateral contact too, a lot of that also is the work that we do with teachers, trying to help implement and create plans with them, trying to make sure our students' academic needs are being met, as well as social emotional needs are being met in the classroom. We run group heavily at the high school level. We do pull-out groups here and there at the middle school. And the PRN session is what we would consider crisis. So students coming in for an unplanned period of time, maybe they're dysregulated, something happened, something triggered them. We're working with them kind of hand over hand with skill development, looking at coping strategies, with our hope to help them re-regulate and then get back into class. So most common diagnosis, so across the board, we're seeing a lot of students diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. Students coming to us diagnosed with ADHD, we tend to take the provider's diagnosis for that. And then we have some mood disorders that are a little bit more prevalent as well. On the right-hand side, you'll see two sections, two bar graphs, the PHQ-9 and the GAD-7 progress. So the GAD-7 is our generalized anxiety disorder scale, screening scale. The PHQ-9 is a patient health questionnaire that looks more at the depressive symptoms of a student. What we have been doing is we establish a student's baseline. So at the beginning of the year, this year, all of the clinicians had the kids redo these assessments to reestablish their baseline. And then at every 90 days during our treatment plan reviews, we have the student recomplete the assessment. Before we were doing it more frequently and it was just getting to be, we caught onto the kids just kind of giving us no answers and it wasn't really that authentic. So, so here, what I wanted to highlight was for the progress from baseline to most recent in the GAD domain, we saw a decrease in severity of symptoms, as well as the severity of symptoms decreasing within the PHQ-9 domain as well. That could be attributed to a whole host of things, how things are going at home. I think the intensity of treatment speaks to that as well. I think if we're able to get outside providers involved and link them up with that, we'll see even more progress in these domains with symptom reduction. And that's a big focus too. I believe if a student needs our level of care within the building, then we definitely need to help the family receive supports and set up supports in the community, because it takes a village at the end of the day. Impact on grades. So we're gonna, I'll quickly go through these three areas. So right here, we're looking at GPA. The left intervention category shows that 96% of students either improved or maintained their GPA. For intervention, the student needs to be at below a 2.0 to be in this category. And for change to occur, we need to see at least a half a point for GPA to have increased for them to be successful in this category. So students who landed here, 96% of them either maintained or improved their GPA. In the prevention category, students with a C or higher or over a 2.0, 66% of students maintained or improved their GPA here.
What the heck happened to that graph?
I don't know, sir. I don't know. I'm so glad you have.
I'm so glad that I have this as well. See, paper,
Yeah.
where's those IT people? See, paper still works. That's so fun.
For attendance here, so to be in our intervention category, students have had at least 5 or more unexcused absences at baseline. And we do determine baseline at intake. So if we have a student coming in at the beginning of, let's say, marking period 2, we would look at marking period 1 and establish their baseline from that data. If we have a student coming in midway through, I tend to tell the staff to wait. We'll use their baseline with whatever that marking period is and then just go forward. Because we haven't had enough time to really be impactful in those domains. But so for the intervention category, 94% of students either improved or maintained their attendance, which I think is just wonderful. We are able to go to the home and conduct home visits. We do a lot of work with the families in the community. We do a lot of tiered plans just to get the students in the building. Slow exposure sometimes is what it takes. We really have the support, I think, of Marilena and her team too, to be able to come up with creative ways to re-expose and help integrate them back in.
Building administration has been amazing.
And building administration,
Yeah.
definitely. And in prevention, so 4 or fewer unexcused absences, 84% of students either improved or maintained their attendance. And lastly, discipline. So to be in the intervention category for discipline, you have to have at least one instance of discipline. So you need to have an in school or out of school on your record. Here, 94% of students who fell in that category either improved or maintained. And in the prevention category, 94% of students either improved, they maintained their discipline record, if you will. So this is my favorite part. We had a great turnout for parent responses over the last school year. We had 21 families respond to our survey. 95% of these respondents report seeing an area, seeing a point of improvement within their child. And across the board, parents were satisfied with our services as well as with our clinicians. When they completed our survey. Next few slides are some quotes. I know everyone has them in their packets. So if you want to, when you have a moment, just take a peek. My favorite part is I get this from our data people, our data guys, and I'm able to then send the quotes to my staff because they don't ever see that. It gets funneled other places. So I know that's a nice highlight for them. You'll also, after the quotes, see 3 clinical vignettes. My staff created little snapshots of why a student came to us, what was going on, and how have they moved towards success in their own life through the time that they've been working with us. So that kind of gives them a little bit more of a qualitative approach to what we're looking at.
I think student 3 is just incredible, just to highlight that this is a student who graduated.
Yeah, hot off the press.
And they keep in touch with their clinicians. So it is a bond. It is a rapport that has been built and a trust that has been built. and that they feel that they are now better prepared for after they leave us, which I think is amazing.
So just to quickly recap here, I shared at the beginning that we're providing above and beyond. Let me take a step back. The staff here are going really, I think, above and beyond to provide services to the students in Newington. And I think their dedication and their caring really lends to how much is going on and what is going on. I think that there's a deep connection with a lot of our staff and with the students. And so when I'm presenting to Marilena and Dr. Brummett and we're looking at service delivery, it's always going beyond what, I would expect of my staff. So they're very motivated for that. I think last time I was here, we spoke a little bit about the billing initiative. So happy to say that is up and going. And we have a 60% opt-in rate for students who are coming to the program to participate in this part of our program now. So we expect the trend to continue. And the 60%, we actually went back to the families that we were working with as well. So this is not just new students entering our program, it was returners too. And we also, just to kind of close on what's working, the high school and Martin Kellogg hosted, various state representatives over the winter months here. We had Senator Letzer come out, Jeff Curry, state representative, the Transforming Children's Behavioral Health Council members, and the Toe Youth Justice Institute staff member came. They toured the space. They met with building administration. Dr. Brummett came out. Marilena was here. We had board members, and we really just talked about the state of student mental health, what's working, what could districts use more of, and where would we like to see things go from here. So I believe those meetings were very impactful, and really do appreciate, the doors being opened up for that. So thank you.
And thank you for the board's participation in that. That was very gracious of you. We know that you guys are working as well, so you were able to support, and I think it made a difference. We're hearing some good news might be around the corner. Well, more to share.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
And I just quickly shared, we're building census at the middle schools because we had a high graduation rate up to the high school. And staff are going to continue to work with district staff members on being able to continue to create plans, maybe use some of the language that was utilized in PD, help, kind of continue with the education piece. So that is one of our focuses this year, to make sure that continues in the buildings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Are there any comments or questions? Ms. Beatrice.
I can't thank you enough for the work that you're doing. I think we're all aware that we can't separate out student mental health needs from student success in the classroom, and from family input as well. And it's a very intense and inclusive. We can't do one without the other pieces. I'm especially struck though by the 600 PRN visits. And my goodness, if that service was not provided, what would the outcome be? And the fact that students feel they know about the services that are available, they feel comfortable accessing them. But the partnership is amazing, the data is amazing, the success data, but the 600 PRN visits is really unbelievable and outstanding work on the part of your staff and your staff as well, but also the families and the students who feel empowered to take advantage of those services. And that will, as the data showed, translate into better attendance, better discipline outcomes, and better grades and student outcomes. So again, thank you so much for the hard work that you're doing, and we're looking forward to what that next step is going to be. Thank you very much.
Mr. Halloran.
Yes, thank you very much. I went through the packet prior to the meeting. I appreciate the data. Every time I kind of wrote a note to ask a question, it was answered on the next slide. I appreciate especially the cost avoidance of over $1 million. I think part of our duty as a board is to be responsible with the taxpayers' funds. And the families in this town, and being able to see that we have a solution in place that does that, on top of the fact that mental health is kind of an invisible threat to a lot of aspects of our school. It affects academics, it affects attendance, it affects discipline, and we had the data to break that out. And to be able to see some real tangible results makes me very happy to support the program. And I think that just the fact that mental health doesn't exist just in school, and it doesn't exist just in home, and it really takes a holistic effort to do that. I think by taking that approach, we're getting the results that we want. So thank you very much. It's nice to see you back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Carr. No, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much for your presentation. You know, we constantly hear great things about the program, and we're so thankful to have you here. I did have one question regarding slide 9, which is the impact on grades GPA. Under intervention, it's showing lower performing students, and it's great seeing, you know, a 73% significant improvement. For the 27% of students still struggling academically despite intervention, do you have any new strategies you plan to put in place going forward?
So when we know when we see a student, when we hear that they're struggling, I think the first thing that my staff does is actually approach the teacher and make sure that we are articulating how their social emotional place is impacting them in the classroom, hearing out the teacher, what's going on in the classroom for them to try and come up with a plan to better support. We are a part of supporting the student if they have an IEP, so making sure those structures are in place, helping them follow through with that, teaching the student about that, because at the end of the day, it's their plan, and they need to be utilizing the accommodations. We do have biweekly admin meetings too, where we have building leadership on, where we're talking about the cases, we're talking about students with academic difficulties, problem solving, coming up with plans there as well. So it's very, when someone's struggling, it's, I think everyone's aware, trying to problem solve. We have Marilena coming up with crazy creative solutions.
We try.
We make it work.
Right, we do. And I think that's a great point. And we do have these meetings, and especially for students at the high school, we all have Power School up. So right away, the first thing that we do is when we're going through it and we are looking at, you know, real life, like what's happening. And then what we'll probably see is like from slide to slide to slide, that student who's having that significant, because it's 4%, so it's probably one student, might be two students. They might also be non-attending. They also may not be. So there are more intensive plans that will be happening for those students. We are on them. It is one of the strengths of the program. I make sure that I'm at almost every meeting. If I am not there, our assistant directors are there, and we are following the students in real time.
That's great, thank you.
So you said that you are building census at Kellogg and Wallace because you had a bunch of kids go to the high school. So how many do you have currently at each of the middle schools?
We just processed, 5 referrals, I think, at Martin Kellogg.
Yep. We have a lot of presentations at our admin. So we had one in each school returning. And then we were just at our admin meeting for John Wallace as well. And we went over, we're going to be approaching 2 families. And we have another student that they're have been identified and talking about. And then at Kellogg, yeah, we had quite an influx.
Yes, and scaring me a little bit is we've started the high school this year almost at capacity, and we've never done that before. So that made us a little nervous, but we're good. We're good.
It'll be fine.
It's gonna be fine. Everything's fine. So if you do reach capacity and it's still early in the school year, what would like adding another clinician look like? And what's the,
That's a
I guess,
really
what
good
does that
question.
look
So we
like?
might be sitting here talking about that, but right now I think we're good.
okay, yeah.
Definitely something that we would have to think about.
And that, the tour that you mentioned last school year, I was at the Kellogg one. It was fantastic to see, because I obviously have heard your presentation and seen you several times here. But actually meeting the clinician at Kellogg and seeing the space and hearing, how the students are just able to come in and they can do their homework or they can take that space that they need. And it was just it was a great tour. And the purpose, as you said, was to essentially get state funding and state buy-in that mental health is extremely important and some kids can't learn or can't even attend school sometimes without the support service in place. So hopefully that results in something positive as well. And I had another question because one of the comments would love to see it grow and expand like at the elementary level. What types of, do you have the same types of services at the elementary level in other districts? And what does that look like?
So I have a district where we're in both of their elementaries. How we do it there is we have one clinician for both buildings, and she's scheduled there, which
Not ideal for
tricky. It's not
crisis,
ideal.
yeah.
It's not ideal. Yeah, we make it work, but her home base is where there is more need. So she's in that building a lot more. We try to be sensitive around that, so.
Okay, thank you. And just personally, I think I mentioned it to you last year, but when you were here a year ago, I had I don't know if I was just applying or looking into getting my master's in social work. So I'm a year in, I have a year to go. And, but yeah, this is something that really I feel is super important. And I love that you're in Newington. And I love that the teachers and the staff in all the schools are attending PDs and learning, the right language to use and all of that. And so thank you for doing that education too, to the staff to just overall support the students. So, but definitely, just personally, I think this is such a great program and
We
I
agree.
graduate in May, thanks. So, but anyways, yeah, are there any other questions? I saw Miss Weaver just joined. Jesse missed, a fantastic presentation, but we'll catch you up on it. Any other? And Marilyn, thank you so much for the support of you and your department, because definitely there's so many different students with so many different needs and
Our social workers and psychologists, again,
Yes.
thank you for your support because, again, I don't know what their day would look like. How would they be able to do that? So it's an amazing partnership. So thank you.
oh, sorry, one more question. And maybe this is just for ours. The highlight of the 1.3 million in savings of the 13 students that are not outplaced, are there students that you're looking at bringing back with the services, or is there an opportunity there? Because clearly it saves money and then we can educate them in-house and, some of those other schools can be pricey and transportation and all that. So just curious, is that, I'm sure it's always on your
So
mind.
Luckily, for the first time ever, I think, the legislation is working in our favor in allowing us to expand programming. So I think that it is definitely something that we could think about, and now having that leverage, being able to say we could be the least restrictive environment, especially if we can grow the program. I think that would be amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next item is the child nutrition program.
So earlier this evening, the Secretary of the Board of Education signed the authorized signature change form. And this is just an annual requirement that we have this in order to show our participation in the federal child lunch programs throughout our schools. And we just need to make sure we're adhering to all their guidelines. And in your packet, there is a copy of the form, but I have the signed copy here. And it also is signed by myself and our new CFO, Lynn. And it's, again, just an annual requirement in order to keep us in good stead with all of the federal lunch requirements.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that lovely signature. I very much appreciate it. So there is a motion on the memo.
Go ahead.
I move the Board of Education authorize Dr. Maureen Brummett, Superintendent of Schools, to sign the ED 099 agreement for child nutrition programs and to sign claims for reimbursement. In the absence or incapacity of Dr. Maureen Brummett, the second person designated and authorized to sign claims for reimbursement shall be Ms. Lean Boisvert. Please make sure I said that right. Beauvert. Oh my gosh, it's French. Beauvert, the Chief Financial Officer.
Second. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, we will be voting on the agreement to sign. This. Yeah, go ahead. Call the roll, please.
Mary Baker,
Yes.
Yes.
Sean Halloran,
Yes.
Anthony Manley,
Yes.
Timothy Newton,
Yes.
Amy Parada,
Yes.
Sam Sharma,
Yes.
Jessica Weaver,
Yes.
Susie, yeah.
8-0.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. Report, school opening 2025, 2026. Dr. Brummett.
Thank you very much. Before I kick it over to Steve to give us an update, I want to report that we had a very positive opening. The Student Board of Ed Representative Abby did have a picture from Convocation where all of our mascots took to the stage. And we had a very upbeat convocation, discussed our many positive growth and shrinking of our achievement gap, but also growth overall, some of our highest scores in many areas. We also talked about some of our students presented at Convocation based on our new reading program benchmark about how much voice and choice it provided them. And about 4 of our students brought the house down with their amazing what they discussed about an essay they wrote to a particular individual who they wanted to have kind of a discourse with, but it was a really unbelievable how they presented well beyond their years. They were 3rd graders at the time of those, when they wrote those documents. So it was a super positive. We had some music. We had a lot of good things happening, and there was a lot of positive feedback. I would now like to turn it over to Mr. Farisi for some further updates. This big tube.
In regards to the enrollment?
Yes, I forgot to mention in my component, we also celebrated Antoinette Serrano, Teacher of the Year, who's a teacher over at E-Green, and she has made it to the semifinal round, which we're excited about. She's presented her paperwork. We're waiting to hear how that plays out. And we also honored Miss Geraldine Andre Major as our Para of the Year. She is a Ruth Chafee paraprofessional, also a published author. So that was also positive. We also did celebrate, as we do every year, a number of our staff members who celebrated their 5, 15, or 25 years of service to the district. And I did want Mr. Freese just to comment briefly on our current enrollment.
So the enrollment, you'll see, and I know I've already gotten a question or two about it. Just want to be clear that, when we put out the projection and then the what we actually have, you'll see a minus number underneath. That's just a minus from the projection. So it's, you know, the actual is, we do have 10 plus more, right? Actual students in the seats. It's just minus what we had originally projected. Sometimes those projections change based on students moving in and out of our district. For the most part, the projections allow us to kind of anticipate how many staff we're going to need at each grade level and how many courses we need to run at the high school. Equally, we look at what students select the seats that we declare through the open choice program. Right now, we've declared a certain amount of seats. Students are continuing to enroll in that program, so we're monitoring that carefully. We do have unique circumstances that happen throughout the summertime where students both in Newington leave and go to other towns, right, to move, as well as students within the open choice program withdraw to potentially go to other schools, while some students within that program move to Newington. We had a healthy number of students actually in the program move to Newington and become Newington residents. So they are no longer in that program and they're part of our projected or regular enrollment. So I would open it up for any questions that you might have about the enrollments that you see here.
Mr. Halloran?
Mr. Parisi, the 44 in the high school,
Yes.
can you give me an estimate of how many of that is open enrollment?
The open choice enrollment?
Open choice enrollment, yes.
Right. So of those, we wouldn't have any students right now that would be through that program. None.
Thank you.
It's an easy answer. It felt too easy. Yeah, right.
Any other questions? Okay.
Next question.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Newton?
How many open choice do we have total? Roughly.
We are up to approximately, I believe, around 140. And there are opportunities for that to grow.
Is that number the highest reimbursement rate? Or are we still?
That will be determined from the October
October
1st
2nd, yeah.
data. And so we are hovering right around that. We did have a significant number of students that would impact that, either withdraw or move into Newington over the summer that we could have never anticipated. So that was close to 14 or 15 students.
Mr. Halloran?
Sorry, I have a follow-up question for the high school. With the projection plus 44 in the high school, is that affecting average class size or are we staffed appropriately?
We are staffed appropriately. There's such a great disbursement and offerings that that number sounds high, but it's rather insignificant compared to the number of courses and offerings that we have. Even with the core classes that students have to take, we're in good shape.
Great, thank you.
And can you just remind us how many full day preschool programs we have? Is it 5 full day classes?
5 full day classes, yes.
Okay, cool.
4 half days. Each
4 half
elementary has
days.
1 half day AM, PM. And I'm sorry, we also have, Mike's not on. At Patterson, we also have 2 self-contained pre-K programs for students who have more intensive needs. So 5 full day, 4 AM, PM, and then 2 intensives at John Patterson.
Thank you. Any further questions on any of the report? Okay. Convocation was fantastic, by the way. And I did realize that, or one of my friends pointed out that Nori doesn't have any clothes, but all the other mascots do. So I wonder if maybe Nori needs a shirt.
All right, I will look into that. Now, on occasion, Nori has worn some merch, as they call it, but I will look into that so we don't have any controversies with Nori.
And I think Chafee, but Chafee's kind of a bird, so
It's hard for birds to
It
wear
didn't look
clothes.
as, it didn't look as off, but yeah, no, convocation in all seriousness was fantastic. And the teacher of the year and paraeducator of the year, wonderful speeches and of course the students that presented, they had come to our board meeting as well.
Yes.
And I think we were blown away by them at the board meeting, but then also standing in front of an auditorium full of their
500
teachers
people,
and and staff is they all did fantastic, and it was amazing. So thank you for the invitation.
So much. And our next item, if you don't mind me just to kick.
Yeah,
over
go
to
for
that,
it.
Is the annual report to the board of gifts received by the school system. Again, it's part of our requirement to present an annual report to the board of any gifts under $500 that were donated to either the system or the schools. So you can see that full range. And a lot of it is much to the credit of our PTOs and our PACs, who really are providing us with a lot of supplemental materials that we wouldn't have access to were it not for their contributions. So this really is a hats off and a thank you to our parent groups. Okay, Stop and Shop provided popsicles for the kids in Anne Reynolds, but everything else was a PTO initiative. And for that, we're very grateful. But this is a complete list of everything that we received from our stakeholders who have contributed. All right.
And the reason for those popsicles, do we even mention that was the lottery winner?
Yes, we did publicize that back in the spring, but someone won the lottery at Stop and Shop on Fenn Road. And as part of their protocol, their feed the community program that they offer at Stop and Shop, they get to choose to donate $10,000 to a school district that's in their area, and they chose Newington. So they did a presentation at Anna Reynolds. As part of that, they not only gave us a big check, but they bought their popsicle van to the school, and every child got an appropriate popsicle, whether it was sugar-free or regular. Very big hit on a hot summer day. So, and we are using those resources to help any families in need that cannot afford lunch. So that's that money that is in our food budget for that purpose.
Like an ice cream truck?
It's like a freezer van, yeah.
It's a van that has refrigerators in it because they only hand out popsicles. They didn't have any ice cream in it. It was just like popsicles that they sell. But it was a huge hit, and actually staff got popsicles too if they wanted.
I was just gonna say $500 is a lot of popsicles, so that makes more sense.
Yeah, it was a lot of popsicle. Anyway, it was a very nice, it was a very fun experience at Anna Reynolds that day.
Yes.
All
But also, yes, that is very generous of our PACs and PTOs and PTAs for donating all these gifts.
Absolutely.
So thank you to
we're very
them.
appreciative. We'll give them a proper appreciation in the spring when we honor our PTAs and PACs at the board meeting.
Okay, any questions, comments on this? Okay, next item.
All right, I'm going to invite Mr. Plum to the table. It's been a request for the board annually to get an update about what our facilities work has been over the summer, where it's a very busy time of year for us to do these upgrades because we don't have as many students around other than our summer programs. And I think the board and our community want to see where their resources are going. So I'd ask Mr. Plum to prepare a slideshow. Some of these I did use at convocation, and he's also going to provide us a brief update about the John Wallace project. So
Sure.
I
Thank
will
you.
advance the slides at your request, Mr. Plum.
Okay, yeah, I have a slideshow prepared, not a lot of text, mostly pictures. You could bring that
I'm
up.
trying.
So the first few slides we're going to look at have the school titles on them. For those of you that don't know, each summer, we have a limited amount of time. We have summer school in some schools, so it's a little more difficult to get in and do the full treatment to those. But our custodial staff works hard through the summer to take every movable piece of furniture out of the classroom, full dust, full clean, get full access to the floors and the carpets and the tile, and completely redo all that to a clean and shiny state. Clean the furniture while it's out in the hall to polish all of the stainless, clean all the gum off, the full treatment, and then bring that clean furniture in back to the clean rooms. So these pictures are some examples of where it just caught my eye when I was walking around this summer, some finished products. In John Wallace, that's our new academy area, and it was a nice day out, and you can see how just brilliant and like a mountain lake that is, where it's shining, and that's what we're looking for in my predecessor's wet military look, and that looks wet and it looks very nice. At the high school, one of our newer hallways, we have some new tile in the building, and we have some older tile. That's our new tile, and they put a nice finish on that. Next slide. Anna Reynolds, so we have LVT over in that building. That's a luxury vinyl tile, which this room actually, I believe, has VCT in it, but both tiles turn out real nice and shiny. Clearly, it's in a little better condition because it just had the remodel done. Martin Kellogg, this is 2 years ago. We redid this tile, and there's a nice decal. It's kind of in the reflection there, but they're taking good care of that. It shines up very nice in the summer. Next slide. John Patterson, the same, very nice. Central office, this is an example of that LVT tile. It's a little bit different, you can see, but do a great job of keeping that in great shape for us, just upstairs. Elizabeth Green, very nice. Ruth Chafee, this is a rubberized floor that has a special finish that goes on, so it's grippy, and it preserves the rubber flooring, but it obviously shines up very nice before the kids come in and put shoe scuffs all over it, but it looks good in the summer when they start opening day. We have a maintenance staff, and we have a support group of contractors behind us that come in and do some work that we can't really do during the school season. This is partially complete, so if we go out to John Wallace today, you're going to see that we've crack filled and we've top coated that court. We've also just a couple of days ago installed some new nets. The nets were looking a little bit rough. And we have a contract waiting, the person's waiting to come out and actually do the work to paint the lines back on top of this black coat, which will spruce it back up and make it look real nice. But this is John Wallace's courts. This summer we drained the high school swimming pool. The finish inside of it, it's a painted concrete, and it only has a limited lifespan with the chlorine and the rough environment it's in. Funny story, one of the custodians was standing there, and they see this every day. They see the bottom right look every day. And we started draining that pool down, and someone said, well, the pool's white. The color of the pool is white, and he is so used to seeing that. He said, no, it's blue. And we're looking at it, we're like, no, that's blue up top. Another interesting thing about it, we brought it down, it looks great. Before filling it up is the picture on the left where it's clearly white. But you see that blue band around the top? The way that the light refracts through the water, it tends to draw the color from the wall into the pool. And I'm told that if we painted that dark band a dark blue, you'd get a different look of the pool. It actually brings it right into the pool, so it turns that white paint nice and aqua blue, like you see. But it was a nice improvement to the pool, waterproof it and everything. Again, Martin Kellogg got some crack sealing out there. We have some cracks that we're starting to get a little bit big, so the kids don't trip through those. Nice image before we use the gymnasium. Each year, the gymnasium gets it's a full polyurethane coat and some touch up for the paint. So obviously it comes out very nice. That's a big decal in the middle of the high school there that's holding it very nice. It gets finished over top to protect it. Looking good there. A couple improvements in this picture. So this is Ruth Chafee. It's hard to tell from the image, but there are two larger bollards in the middle, kind of where that yellow tape stops and starts. Prior to the bollard additions, as of this summer, we added all the other bollards that are there. On the right, we have traffic that circles through each day, and on the left, we have kind of a playground space. So this is to help with, in case there's a car that, becomes out of control or something else happens over there. Those bollards will protect the kids from the playground. In the left of the image, we've crack filled that as well, and there's a fresh paint job on the courts, compliments of the parents' PTA, PO rather. Newington Highway actually volunteered. They had the time this summer to do a full depth replacement of the E-Green playground. It was starting to crack up very bad. In fact, dirt was coming up through the asphalt. It was in rough shape. So this is the way that it looks today. So we have a full, the darker colored asphalt is fresh, nice and clean. We do have a paint job that is going to go on this with some Foursquare and some other details for playground type organization and fun things to do. It isn't quite there yet, but that should happen within a week or two. We have a fleet of HVAC equipment throughout the school district. Some of that is R22. It's the older refrigerant. Just by the age of the R22 equipment it's vintage. It's getting up there in years, and it tends to be where we see most of our, many of our problems. So we picked out about 5 or 6 of the more problematic R22 units and upgraded them to the modern refrigerant. This particular unit on the left is going up over the media, or it supports the media center at the high school. We flew that in, and some other smaller units were done around the district. On the right, we had, back to sorry, one. The freezer at the high school is a very large freezer where we keep the food for student lunches. And in the history, since I've been here, we've had a lot of problems where it used to reject heat into a storeroom. So the way that storeroom would become warm in the summer, and it would actually heat up the electric motors in there, and we'd have issues with it. So what you see on the right is the piece that goes inside the freezer, the air handler. And now we go up to the roof and we reject that heat outdoors. So we're solving 2 problems at once. It's also been much more dependable. We got that in toward the end of the summer. It's holding up nicely. E-Green, we did a switch of a couple of rooms. So the room on the left is a room that was a teacher's lounge that became a new kindergarten room. And the room on the right was a book room that had some carpet that was past its useful life, well past, and we recarpeted, retiled that, and now that's the teacher's lounge. So repurposed a couple of spaces, and they both improved. John Wallace, this photo is a little bit dated. This is probably about 3 weeks ago. John Wallace, as you can see, when they took those walls out, is wide open inside. For those of you that didn't have a chance to come and walk through when we did that, the deal over there, the groundbreaking. Wings 3 and 4 are the first 2 wings that are in full demolition and full rebuild like this right now. Currently, there are a lot of concrete block walls that have gone up, so there's not as much of a view. It's more, you're beginning to see the aisleway inside, which is a single aisle down the middle, and you've seen the classrooms and all these other rooms develop along the edge on the window line. But a lot of work going on there, of course. Martin Kellogg, we had some carpet that was in rough shape, so we did both in the 2-level area, the lower level and the upper level. So we pulled out the old tile that was under the bad carpet and got down to fresh concrete, and then prepared it and installed new VCT tile, and this is after they had finished it in the summer, with the protector on it. Also at Martin Kellogg, we have some of our most in need bathrooms over there. So again, on the 1st and 2nd floor, the 2-level areas, very aged, in need of repair. So we picked off what we could afford this year, one of those 4 bathrooms. So this is the girls' bathroom on the 2nd floor. Picture really doesn't do it justice. It turned out very nice and clean. So in the image here, we've got new suspended ceiling, we've got new mirrors, new tile on the walls, all 4 walls, new tile on the floor, new sinks, the square sinks. We reused the far sink and repainted the dividers, but it came out very nice, very clean. New toilets, and very important, some plumbing underneath the toilets that was causing some flooding down below. So that's all cleaned up. So the downstairs bathroom is much better, in much better shape now too. Looks very nice. An interesting one, the concrete slab here we placed this summer. This is a new program over at NHS where it's a pre-EMT training. So this is actually a donated for real ambulance, still has a diesel engine in it. It is up on jack stands and chained into place, and it has power you can see coming off the side of the building, a little short segment of power that goes down over and keeps the batteries charged. And the students can actually, for real, at the real height of an ambulance, load a gurney into this ambulance and really experience what it's like inside of the vehicle itself. It's legitimately an ambulance. I think that's it, yeah.
Thank you. That ambulance is so cool.
Yeah.
Ms. Reese is very excited about it.
Yeah.
Are there any comments or questions? Mr. Halloran?
No questions, just a few comments. Jason, thank you for all the work you've done over the summer. It's amazing how much you get done in a few short weeks. Throwing that on top of that, having to move all of the furniture at John Wallace. I love how well that project is going. I've seen the boards on the windows. Everything looks great there. My daughter, who's in 7th grade, doesn't like having to go to the academy sometimes for some schools. I'm like, it's temporary. It'll be nice when it's done. But thank you very much for all your work. Shout out to the PTA at Ruth Chafee for the lines on the basketball. And I'm really happy that the ballots are there, because prior to that, it was like just a glorified speed bump that you could drive right over. So we're encouraging people to use the basketball courts. It's nice to offer a little bit of safety, but really well done. Thank you for everything you do and your staff.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for the update. Everything looks fantastic. Hope that stays that way.
Amy, can I
Ms.
say something?
Weaver, go ahead. I
Thank
just
you.
saw your
Thanks,
hand.
sorry. Yeah, I just want to echo what Mr. Holleran said. Sorry, everyone. I'm literally on my 45-minute layover and trying to get on as soon as the plane landed. But just wanted to say how spotless, like the reflections of those floors are just incredible. Never ceases to amaze. And as someone who had a sister swim in the pool for many years, it just looks gorgeous. She judges all of the other schools she visits now based on like how well that looks. So just want to say once again, fabulous job to you, and please thank your team for us. Just incredible work.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next agenda item is a discussion on potential future agenda items for 25-26. So I will just say that one of the agenda items that we talked about at our last meeting is to get an update mid-year on math. So I want to make sure that that's accounted for. We want to make sure that we have data available, and in the memo that was sent out by the superintendent, we mentioned, or Dr. Brummett mentioned, that the plan is to move forward with the de-leveling, but we want to ensure that it is being made with the proper data and analysis and everything. So at the board's request, that was an update or a agenda item that we want to see after probably winter benchmarks, right? So that would probably be
Ms. Freeman,
after
winter
November.
benchmarks, what would be the time for those?
Either late January or early February. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but we do the winter benchmarks in January, but teachers have about 2 weeks to get the data in.
Okay.
Then we want some time to analyze that data.
Of course.
It would be helpful too if that curriculum committee, if the board could give me specifically what kind of information they would want at that update, that would be helpful.
Absolutely, yeah. So Mr. Halloran, ensure that there's a curriculum committee meeting scheduled prior to that.
Thinking like, did you say February, like the 11th? Meeting?
Yeah,
So we will add that.
and it'll be in our budget time, but I think that's fine. Yeah. Yeah. So are there so obviously there's a list of our topics that we have so far, mostly our presentations, but are there, any other agenda items that the board is wanting to see? And obviously we will be adding agenda items as the year progresses, as things come up, but Mr. Newton?
I still feel that, and I'm a member of the curriculum committee, I still feel that we owe it to the public to vote in public, one way or the other, whether it's up, down, whatever, when it comes to a curriculum change. I think that it's transparent and it's out there for everybody to see, and I'd like to see that looked at. We can do it in executive session. I'm not worried about that, but I just think the end vote needs to be in public so people know where we stand.
So I think one of the things that the policy committee is going to thoroughly look at is the requirement for voting. It's a slippery slope when you say, I know you said it in private, but that doesn't go public. So if we voted on it in private, it wouldn't be a public vote.
But I really still feel we need to be up front as to where we stand on.
Yeah, so I think that there's no precedent for that at this time. I don't know if you were going to talk about the policy committee was going to look at what could happen there.
Yeah, I was just going to mention at the last meeting, policy 9132, which gives the board oversight through the curriculum committee, and then policy 6172.1, which requires acceleration decisions be based on multiple criteria. So I think those are definitely two policies we can look at this month when we meet.
My mic's not working. Okay. And I just want to publicly say that we're not voting. It's not something that is done. So we don't want to just do it to do it because there could be implications there as well. So we need to make sure that we handle it legally and appropriately. So I think that we just while we're on the topic, we had that special meeting over the summer and the school year has started with the direction that we're headed. We did make changes to the curriculum. So that's why the administration made changes to the curriculum, which is why the board had asked for the update. So I think that's where we are now. And then we'll in the future discuss, especially after the policy reviews the policies, and then we'll discuss those at our meeting. And then if they do change, we will accommodate. I guess is the right word. So are there any other agenda items that we, at this point, and again, there's always opportunity to add as we go. Yes, Mr. Halloran.
Looking after November 11th, there's an election. So would we have to put something in terms of assigning committee?
Committee. Yeah, that's something that the chair does.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the makeup of the committees will change. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mr. Mealy?
So I just have a question. Brittany, you looked at those policies, right?
Yes.
What Mr. Newton is talking about sounds to me like common sense, but, so having read the policies, could you guys fill me in on what, I know you said you have to review the policies, but does that seem like something that's going to be able to go forward?
So this isn't a discussion on policy because we do have to let the policy committee review the policies. This is a discussion on potential agenda items for our board meetings.
Okay.
You're welcome to caucus with Brittany after the fact. Ms. Carr?
Looking at the agenda for February, when we start talking budget, we're going to add potentially more budget discussion meetings, correct? Because I know
Absolutely.
right now there's 2, with the third being the possible budget submission. I think more workshopping the budget for the next year would be helpful.
Yes, we will have definitely special meetings, and we will talk about that, I think, in December. When we talk about, there's December 10th is where we're going to establish our dates to review the budget. At that meeting, we will set future. Mr. Newton?
While we're on the lines with the budget, what I was hoping we could also look at on the agendas is with the new CFO and everything else, that we have a more simplified. I get confused sometimes, people, and I've read this several times. I just think we need a more simplified, straightforward. Board of Education's expenditures are this, Anna Reynolds is this, sometimes I think we have so many details that we get lost and we need to go back to basics. Because people that I answer to, including my wife, they don't know how to read it. I mean, this is gibberish, so.
We have already had, we had a discussion with the town finance director and Lynn, and I think Lynn has some ideas for how to present the budget more clear. I think another thing that was brought up was also actuals. So instead of like what we budgeted, what our actuals are. So I think Lynn is already starting, there we go, already starting on that to just increase the transparency and ease of reading, for sure. Okay, all right. Just making sure no one had their hand raised online. Okay, so PTO PAC representation for this school year. So this is just a grid of board members assigned. It's only through November because there's an election, there'll be a new board. And I believe Mr. Newton and Ms. Carr attended PAC meetings this week, right?
Yes, John Wallace. I was Anna Reynolds, but I'm now crossing at John Wallace, so I felt I should meet the people there. So I went to John Wallace because I'd been to Anna Reynolds. It was interesting. They do a lot of fundraising there. They're pretty good at it.
Awesome. So yeah, we do like to attend the meetings, and just did you pull it off?
I did.
Just a reminder, if we should be getting, Dr. Brummett, can you confirm, we should be getting an invite from the principal for the meetings. I know not all principals are sending them, but the meeting dates and times are at the bottom of the memo, but we should be getting an invite, especially if they're also offered virtually. And then if you can't attend, reach out to a fellow board member just to see if they can attend in your place, because it is good to have the representation there. Just in case. So.
They reached out to me like 3 weeks ago already.
Oh, perfect. They're on it.
We definitely have been asking them to do that. And at the very bottom, it shows where they're located. But yes, if they offer virtual option, which most, if not all, do, that would be communicated to the representative. And you can see the rest of the calendar will be populated after the election.
Yes. Any questions or comments on that? No? Okay. And much anticipated discussion on adding an online payment method.
Want to kick it off to our new CFO, Lynn. As you heard earlier from our student representative, it was brought up at I believe our last board meeting of the school year. And just a desire to have access to payments other than having to rely on checks or cash. So Lynn has been doing some homework over the summer, and I believe has some ideas she'd like to share with the board.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Parliament. There was, in the packet, you'll see there were 3 different companies that I presented for you. One was 99 Pledges, which is a fundraising site. It enables schools, clubs, and sports teams to create their own pages to collect donations. It's a type of crowdfunding source that could be used with the student activities. It has no annual fee. The cost to the donor is $3.49% plus 49 cents per transaction. They accept credit cards and PayPal only. The second one was Ludus Ticketing, Marketing, and Fundraising. It also has no annual fee. It enables patrons to purchase tickets online. Clubs and groups can market their fundraising via a custom email tailored to their groups, and you can collect dues and fees and attach forms for payers to complete. It's more tailored to ticket sales, but is flexible and can be used for purchasing. The cost to the donors or patrons is 5% plus 75 cents per transaction. The final one in the packet was Vanco Education, which is the RevTrack web store. It has multiple capabilities to collect required and optional fees. It's the only product I found that integrates seamlessly with our student information system, PowerSchool, so that the payments could be paid right through the PowerSchool online portal. And although it integrates with PowerPay, it can be used without the connection by anyone with without a PowerSchool login. So you can go right to the website, click on the little squares, and make a payment for whichever group you were trying to pay for. This product would enable the Newington Public Schools to accept any type of payment online, not just credit cards or debit cards, but also checks and ACHs. There is a cost for this one. It's $29.95 a month for the district, which equates to $359.40 annual fee for continuous support, training, and implementations. The fees are 4.3% for credit cards and 3.49% for an ACH. For Vanco events, there is an additional 75 cents per ticket cost. In speaking with our PowerSchool database manager, this was the one that he was researching a couple years ago, and he's very confident that it will work well. I also like the online presence it has. So I give you these solutions for your questions.
Thank you. Ms. Beatrice?
A couple of questions about the credit card payments. Does it accept all credit cards, or does it exclude Amex with its higher fees, or?
None of them said that anything about excluding any of the specific types of
Okay,
credit
thank you.
cards.
That's correct.
So for the Vanco application, I know there's a $29.95 monthly fee. Would that need to be incorporated in the district's budget? And if so, how would it be accounted for?
It would be a dues and fees.
Would parents pay the 4.3% credit card fee, or any credit card fees for that matter, with any
Right
of these
now, in
options?
the format we do for food service, the parents pay the fees. So it was something that would be up to the board, whether they wanted to have the parents or the donors pay the fees, or have the board pay the fees and adjust the prices.
Do you know offhand what percentage the, our school lunch and Chromebook insurance fees are for Easy School Pay?
I do not know off the top of my head, but I can get that for you.
Yeah, I'm just curious if it's comparable or.
It's a flat fee.
The flat fee?
Yeah. I just heard it.
Thank you. Yeah, I like the idea, obviously, like the idea of online payments just because of like I had to go pay the athletic fee in person, and my best friend's in the office, so like it wasn't that big a deal, but having to go into the office and pay the fee, and then they have to keep track of it, and then it's a lot of just paperwork, entering it into Power School or whatever, wherever she has to enter into 17 different spreadsheets. So I like the idea of the online just for tracking purposes, and obviously it's more secure. I'm just a little concerned that 4.3% is like, I think it's higher than a lot of other fees. So if you're paying something larger, I know that if it's a dance ticket, it's probably, $10. So like, it's not that much, but if you're paying a sports registration or something like that, it would be a higher fee. So I guess that's just my only real concern with that one. Go ahead, Miss.
I don't understand.
Hold on, just put your mic on.
So they're gonna get a 4.3 fee and we're paying $29.95 a month to maintain the system.
It has a lot of special
It's their
integrations.
software, I get all that.
Yeah,
but-
with Power School. So because it integrates with our student information system, there's a fee involved with it because it gives you all the reporting and all of the cohesiveness with Power School.
I mean, I don't think the $29.95 is excessive, but I think 4.3, I think you're right. Retailers, I think, pay 3.25
Depends on the card.
on the card,
They're paying,
yeah.
I think 7 and change for Amex in my office.
Yeah, depends.
Yeah.
Maybe they have to do that to
they-
average it out.
Yeah, it looks like
And that could be an explanation of why they do it, but I agree with Amy that it just seems high.
Mr. Halloran?
Yeah, I'm excited about the options, especially when it came from a student representative from last year. It's always a good thing to see us taking motion on what the students ask us to do. The students who were in attendance tonight, clearly were excited about it. I do think we need to have some further discussion. I think the percentages are a little high, the fee's high, and I think we need to also think about the disproportionate effect that could have on some of our lower income families, especially when it's multiple students going to the same thing. I think I like the convenience, but at the same time, that's money out of the school system that is taking away from what we could potentially keep in. So those are just my concerns. I like it. I have some questions.
And cash would always be an option too, cash or check. I don't
Yeah.
think it would be 100% online, at least not immediately. So we don't want to
That's true.
force people to use online platform. Mr. Sharma and then Ms. Weaver has her hand up
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, we should have an online option because I know I was trying to pay fees for my son and it was a hassle. But maybe just work on, I think 4.3%, 3.49. But then, it's up to the parents if they want to use it, but we do need an online option, so.
Ms. Weaver?
Thanks. Yeah, just a point of clarification. First off, Lynn, thanks so much for looking into this and giving us at least some options to know what the universe is like out for this. And awesome on Michael for bringing this to us. But just a question, was it $29.99 a month for the district, not per user, correct?
correct.
Okay. Yeah, I think we can, as a district, absorb that amount for a year. I think that would be fine. But yeah, the fees are a little concerning. I do understand though, like, we want to make sure there's at least an ease of access when we're doing it so parents have the ability. So yeah, if there's any more details, and just wanted to clarify too, I'm guessing this is pretty much it, like in terms of options that we have. Just wanted to make sure that I assumed you found as much as you could out there.
There are other options I could look into. I could look into just specifically ones that don't have the web presence, that can just be linked right on the website, on our website.
Yeah, I would
was
just
trying to
appreciate
find
any of
ones
that.
that were
Thank
very
you.
user friendly.
Got you. Well, I appreciate all the work, and yeah, all of that would be helpful. Thanks.
Ms. Peters?
Any feel on impacts to the IT department? Is it something that is going to be very time consuming for them? Is it a seamless transition? Anything that we need to know about from their having to maintain the system and the security surrounding it?
They don't maintain these systems.
Even better. That's awesome.
They're independent websites.
Okay.
Where with the secure socket technologies and the clubs and the groups would learn how to do everything and maintain their own pages.
Okay, great. Thank you.
One last follow-up.
Mr. Noonan?
How much access would they have to our students' information? I mean, that actually just sits in the back of my head more than anything, because if we bring them into our system, do they now have access to everything in our system? Or
No.
just, I don't know, I'm not an IT person.
It's an interface
Solely for the payment?
solely for the payment.
Okay.
This is Power School's preferred vendor. That's how I found them. And then I found out that our Power School database manager liked it.
Okay, and I had never heard of this 99 Pledges site previously, but I've used like something called Zephy where it's very similar. It's like zero fees. And it's a little cumbersome, but like you said, every like organization like would have to create their own essentially like payment link and what it's for. So it really is just it wouldn't be integrated into anything for NPS. It's just, DECA needs to charge for a t-shirt and they would just have this platform. So it's I don't love that, especially if it's like a school sponsored. I mean, PTOs use different platforms too, but I like the idea of the one you said, the last one you said that integrates with Power School. But like, I don't know, is there a salesperson that can just maybe get a lower fee or any, like a lower percentage or something like that worth a ask maybe?
I can look into everything and I'll try and find some more.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for your work on this. And I think we're all definitely in agreement that we would like an online. I mean, just, yeah, and lower fees, the better. But again, people can choose to use it or not. Sometimes a convenience fee is worth it to people, but 4.3 just seems high to me. But so yeah, I guess we could, excuse me, we can talk about this in the future.
Would you like us to put out a parent poll through Parent Square to find out if these fees are too high?
Maybe after the next discussion, see what you can find, or if, yeah, definitely a little more info, and then we can. But yeah, that's definitely a good idea. Yeah. Yes. Okay. That was our last agenda item for the evening. So we're back to public participation on any matter related to board responsibilities. And again, we'll increase the time to 4 minutes. If you're online, you can raise your hand, or in the room, come to the end of the table. Seeing none. And remarks by board members? Ms. Beatrice?
I want to thank again the parents for coming to our meetings. We talk a lot about parent involvement, and so your presence is noted and appreciated. I do want to circle back to a question that actually one of the parents brought up regarding due diligence when choosing curriculum programs, and kind of what does that look like? Just a brief overview, not a deep in the weeds data pull, but kind of what does that due diligence process look like?
I'm sorry, what's that? You're all
Is that a
set?
question for now?
What's that? Oh,
How do we do it?
No, I understand the question.
Just for
There was a question about the process and the scientific piece of it, and I'm just curious for like a little thumbnail sketch as to what that looks like. How do we examine those programs?
I think that might be a great topic for a curriculum committee meeting. And if we want to bring it to the full board, I think that would be acceptable. So Mr. Holler, if you don't mind. So we're having remarks by board members. It's not discussion or just following our agenda for public meetings. We can't really have a discussion at this time, and we can't amend our agenda. So, oh, okay, I apologize, and this is how we run the meeting, so we will address it in a future forum. Not answering the question, it's just not the appropriate time at this point to have a question. Ms. Weaver has her hand raised.
Thank you, Chair Peretti. Just wanted to say sorry to all of those. I don't miss a board meeting because I'm not literally in the air. So sorry, at a work conference, just got back from the West Coast, and then I'm literally getting on a plane now. So again, apologies. I think I was here for majority after public participation, so I'll go watch it back after. But just wanted to note that we do have a curriculum committee meeting on Tuesday. That policy is on the agenda, and as well as a discussion on it. And I think it's really important. I just want to emphasize those are where the discussions should happen. 1, 2, I looked through all the history of our board meetings and I can't find any point where we voted on curriculum. And I don't think, I'm not saying we shouldn't. I just want to make sure we have parameters in place because this could come up. There could be a million other ones. There's biocurriculum that was rewritten. There's new curriculum rewritten for every different thing that we add, for every new course we have. So I'll be also doing I had mentioned some research last meeting on other school districts that I looked at. I've never found anyone that voted to simply, I've seen just votes on courses being added with budget impact for most of the courses that I've seen, particularly like Weathersfield or Rocky Hill. So I just wanted to note that I think we can have a more robust discussion. I recognize everyone's time is precious, so I just wanted to say that's on the agenda, that's posted on the website. And then we will also be setting up a policy meeting when I can go and harass Steve for dates. So sorry to Steve. And then just lastly, I just want to say happy 2025-2026 school year. Looking forward to our students doing great things. Competition was great. And congratulations to our new teacher of the year, my second grade teacher, Ms. Antoinette Serrano.
Thank you, Ms. Weaver. Mr. Halloran?
Yes, so I think how curriculum is decided on is kind of a very broad question. I will say, if you come to the curriculum meeting, we are given a background on how curriculum is decided. It depends on the topic. There's data that's driven behind that decision. We're allowed to probe and ask questions, but it really depends on what is changing in the curriculum and what's supporting it. But we do get a background on how that decision was made. So once again, next Tuesday, 6 o'clock in this room. Just to kind of understand how the process is working. We don't typically vote on anything in that meeting. It's informational, so we can bring it back to the full board. But I also wanted to comment, just like Jess did, you stole my thunder on Happy New School Year. Appreciate all the hard work from the teachers, staff, administrators, and especially our students and all the support staff. And really looking forward to kicking off the school spirit just to support the Steer Co committee in the high school because that's what we need. So thank you. Looking forward to the next year.
Ms. Carr?
I'm going to throw a little wrench in here. My thought process is maybe have a joint policy and curriculum meeting just so that we understand when we're looking at the policies, the changes in language, how they can affect the curriculum, rather than us looking at policy, you guys discussing curriculum, and then we're just getting a brief, 10-minute overview. I don't think lets us fully sink our teeth into what needs to happen or what changes or the impact. Another thought process, I'm not positive how often curriculum meets, but I know it doesn't meet as often as policy does, but I think having more curriculum meetings will allow everyone to go more in depth of the curriculum. Sorry to add more work on your plate, but that way we can understand better what's in the school district and have a better understanding of what the parents are seeing, the students are seeing, the teachers are seeing, things like that.
Mr. Mealy?
Thank you. I think we would be remiss if we didn't recognize that today at a public university in Utah, that Charlie Kirk, a conservative, God-loving, family-loving, country-loving human being that goes there for public discourse with students across the nation, was assassinated on live TV. He has a very young wife and 2 very young children. And I would just ask that we keep him in our thoughts, and if you believe in God, in our prayers. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I will just say that I'm going to go back and listen again, but I heard a lot of things, a lot of accusations today, and I take a little bit of personal offense, but also offense on behalf of our administration, because I know that they dedicate their entire careers towards doing what's best for the students in Newington, and accusing them of discrimination or of not including someone in a classroom or just any of that. And again, I'm going to go back and listen exactly. But I know that none of the decisions made on anything in the 3rd floor are done just willy-nilly. I think that there's a lot of effort and time and, education that goes into these decisions. So none of us board members are educators. A lot of us are around schools. A lot of us are, have kids in schools, and our parents ourselves or went through the Newington school system. But I think it's just a little, personally offensive that it's like we're here. All of us are here because we care about the kids in Newington, and we care about our schools, and we want to do what's best and what we feel is best. And whether we vote on something or not doesn't mean that we don't care about it. And there's a lot that goes on around the table and in committee meetings and in conversations with the superintendent that isn't a public meeting. So I just want to say that we put our faith in Dr. Brummett and her team, the entire school district. The board's responsibilities are set policy, set the budget, and review the superintendent. And part of reviewing the superintendent is how she approaches and handles the situations that arise with her staff. So sometimes if we don't respond to an email immediately, it's because it's not our place to respond to the email immediately, and we will send it over to the appropriate person. So I just want to say, just in general, for anyone, that we are all here for the right reasons, I hope, and we would never do anything or say anything that is singling out or making a student not have the education they deserve, because I personally feel that every single student that walks in those buildings, and the ones even that go to other schools that we are responsible for, are getting the best education that they can, meeting their needs. Everyone is different. It is a huge responsibility to know all of that. It's not our responsibility. We put our trust in the superintendent and her admin team. We're not, the board we don't know anything about student records or students or any of that. That is not our purview. It's classes, any of that. We don't make the schedules. So, but we're putting our trust in this team around the table, and in all of our buildings. So I just want to say I just want to say that. Also, yes, Mr. Mealy? Yeah, go ahead. You can. It's not a discussion, though. We're just gonna.
I'm just going to comment
Okay,
because
you can make.
you made a very long, large statement and you spoke for us.
I mean, I was speaking for myself,
That's
but
okay.
I was.
So if I may speak for myself.
Please.
I didn't hear any accusations here today, quite frankly. I heard none. There's public discourse. People may agree or disagree. We as a board, we work for the parents and the taxpayers of the town. We don't work for Dr. Brummett. I don't put my faith in Dr. Brummett. I like to work with everybody. Everybody here has some great ideas, but we're the Board of Education. And she works for us. We don't work for her.
I didn't say we worked for her.
That's
but
all
okay.
I'm saying.
That's fine.
And so we're responsible to the parents and to the taxpayers is the bottom line. That's who we're responsible to. Thank you.
So since we're the parents, you're accused of making.
I'm gonna just look for a motion to adjourn. Please, motion to adjourn.
We're literally the only parents.
Unfortunately, I cannot modify the agenda because it's a special meeting, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Just to keep the Robert's Rules of Order in effect, I will make a motion to adjourn. That doesn't mean we have to stop talking after the meeting, but to officially end the meeting, I motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Adjourned. I would gladly welcome your comments now. It is not appropriate to have it during a meeting when it's not.